I sat there on the attic floor, my knees pulled up, heart pounding like I just ran across the Brooklyn Bridge. The first letter shook me, but the second one, that one, it destroyed whatever I thought I knew about Jason. The envelope was older, edges a little torn, ink slightly faded, but the handwriting, that was unmistakably his. I slid the letter out, and the moment my eyes hit the first line, I froze. Because the very first word was Marco, and my whole body went cold. See, Jason told me he was an only child. No cousins, no siblings, no one. But the name Marco? I remembered that name. Years ago, before we got married, Jason woke up from a nightmare one night, drenched in sweat, whispering that same name. Marco, stop, please. When I asked, he snapped out of it and acted like nothing happened. Later, he told me, just a bad dream, babe, forget it. But now, here it was, in a letter addressed to my son. I took a breath and kept reading. Letter number 2, Jason's words. Ethan, if your mom ever finds these letters, I'm sorry. I didn't want her dragged into all this. Marco wasn't just someone from my past. He was my brother, but not in the way you'd think. We weren't related by blood. We were tied by something worse, something darker. I left that life behind. I thought I buried it. But men like Marco, they don't let you walk away. My hands started shaking. Brother? Not blood? Darker? I read the next lines like my life depended on it. If anything ever happens to me, it won't be an accident. It'll be because Marco found me. I swear my heart stopped. Jason? My Jason? The man who made pancakes for Ethan every Sunday morning? The man who kissed me before every shift? The man who held me when I cried? He'd been running from his past his whole life? I whispered, Jason, why didn't you tell me? But I already knew the answer. He wanted to protect us. And the more I thought about it, the more little things started making sense. His sudden job changes, the way he always checked the locks twice, sometimes 3 times, how he'd grip my hand tight whenever we walked past busy subway stations, how he'd panic if anyone stared too long at Ethan. I always thought Jason was just cautious. Turns out, he was scared. Really, truly scared. I put the letter down and grabbed the photo again. The unknown man standing beside Jason, now I knew his name, Marco. Dark eyes, cold smile, like someone who didn't feel anything anymore. As I stared at that photo, one thing hit me. Jason wasn't hiding from his past. He was hiding us from it. And then something else happened. Downstairs, I heard a noise, a soft thump, like someone closed a door. I held my breath. The house was supposed to be empty. Ethan was at school. No one else had a key except me. And Jason. But Jason was gone. I whispered, "Hello?" No answer, but I knew I wasn't alone. That noise downstairs, it wasn't a creak or the house settling. It was a person. And when I went down, I found something on my kitchen table that made my blood run cold, something that should have been buried with Jason. I thought the noise downstairs was my imagination, but when I walked into the kitchen, something was waiting for me on the table, and it shouldn't have been there, not unless someone else was in my home. I climbed down from the attic real slow, my flashlight still in my hand, my heart beating so loud I could hear it in my ears. The house was too quiet, too still.
That kind of stillness that tells you you're not alone. I whispered, "Hello? Anyone there?" No answer. But I wasn't stupid. I grew up in Queens. You don't ignore noises in an empty house. I stepped into the hallway. My palms were sweaty, my throat dry. Every step echoed off the hardwood floor. As I reached the kitchen doorway, I saw it. Right in the center of the table, a manila envelope. Not mine, not Jason's, not from the house. A brand new, clean envelope, placed perfectly in the middle, like someone wanted me to see it. My knees almost buckled. I walked over, hands shaking, and lifted it. There was no stamp, no name, just one handwritten word. Linda. My name. In a handwriting I didn't recognize. And inside, a photo. Not the old one from the attic. A new one. A photo of Ethan, my son, walking out of school. Taken from a distance. Taken without my knowledge. My stomach twisted. I dropped into a chair, whispering, oh my God, no. No. Whoever put this here knew my son's school, knew where he walked, knew where he lived. My hands clenched the table so hard, my knuckles turned white. On the back of the photo, there was a short message. A message that made my whole body go numb. You can't hide from family. Family? Family? I grabbed the envelope again and dumped it out. Another piece of paper fell onto the table. A printed sheet. A police report. My eyes scanned the lines fast. Name, Marco Rivera. Status, wanted. Charges, extortion, trafficking, assault, attempted murder. Last known contacts, Jason Miller. My heart stopped. Marco wasn't just some brother figure from Jason's past. He was a criminal, a dangerous one. And Jason worked with him. Maybe ran from him? I whispered, Jason, what the hell were you involved in? I looked around the kitchen, suddenly aware somebody had been in my house, not long ago, and they weren't here for me. They were watching Ethan. My whole body shook with fear and rage. I grabbed my phone with trembling fingers and dialed 911, but just before I hit call, the home security system chimed. Entry sensor, back door. The back door. Someone had just gone out. My breath caught in my chest. I turned slowly toward the hallway, and I swear I saw it. A shadow. Tall. Quick. Sliding past the back window and disappearing into the yard. I dropped to the floor, hands over my mouth to stop myself from screaming. He wasn't just watching us. He had been inside the house, watching me read the letters, watching me find the truth, watching everything. I thought the worst part was someone entering my house. But the next day, when my son came home with a note in his backpack, I realized the real danger wasn't after me. It was after him. I barely slept that night. Every sound, the fridge humming, the floor creaking, felt like a threat. I kept replaying everything in my head. The envelope, the photo of my son, the message about family, the shadow outside my window. By the time Ethan came home the next day, I was wired, cautious, watching every corner like a hawk. He walked through the door, all innocent, lunchbox in hand, saying, "Mom, you look tired." Yeah, understatement of the century. I knelt down, kissed his forehead, trying to act normal. "Rough day, sweetheart?" He shrugged. Nah, same old. But a teacher found this in my backpack. He handed me a folded note. A teacher found it? Meaning someone put it there before he even got on the bus? My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was just one sentence. Your father thought he could leave. You shouldn't make the same mistake. My knees nearly gave out. Ethan stared at me, confused. Mom, what does it mean? I forced a smile. My voice cracked. Oh, nothing, baby. Someone's idea of a dumb joke. But I was lying, and God knows he could hear the fear in my voice. I hugged him tight, too tight, tighter than a mother should, because now I know this wasn't just someone watching. This was a threat. And then something else fell out of his backpack. A lollipop. Red. Wrapped neatly. But taped to the stick was a tiny note. A note that said, For Ethan, see you soon. My blood ran cold. Someone gave this to my son. Someone got close enough to touch him. I checked the wrapper again, and that's when I noticed it. A faint black ink mark. A symbol I didn't recognize, like a gang marking or a message. And suddenly, all the things Jason used to say came rushing back. The double locking the doors, the panic at crowded places, the sleepless nights. He wasn't paranoid. He was hunted, and now they were hunting his son. I grabbed my phone, ready to call the police, but then I hesitated. What was I going to tell them? That some unknown criminal mastermind named Marco left candy for my kid? Cops don't listen to scared moms with no proof. So instead, I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened the trunk again. Jason had to have left more. A clue, a warning, something. And he did. At the bottom of the trunk, hidden under the letters, was a small black flip phone, old, scratched. But taped to the back was a note. If they find you, call this number. He'll protect you both. Trust no one else. Jason. I swallowed hard. They? Who the hell were they? I opened the phone. There was only one number in the contacts. Just one. Labeled, Don't call unless it's life or death. My finger hovered over the button. And then Ethan called from the living room. Mom, someone's outside the window. My heart stopped. I ran. And there, standing across the street, a man, staring straight at my house, at my son. Not moving, not blinking. Watching. When I dialed that number on Jason's secret phone, the guy picked up on the very first ring. And the first thing he said wasn't hello. It was, Linda, listen to me carefully. They found you. You have 10 minutes. I swear my fingers were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. Ethan was still standing by the window, staring at that man across the street. Tall, dark jacket, hands in his pockets, not moving an inch. I yanked the curtains shut and grabbed Ethan's shoulders. Sweetheart, go to your room, now. Mom, what's happening? Just listen to me, okay? Go, lock the door. He ran. I heard his small footsteps pounding up the stairs. I took a breath that didn't reach my lungs and hit call. The phone barely rang once. A low voice answered instantly. Linda. I froze. How do you know my name? He didn't waste a second. Jason told me you'd call if everything went to hell, so I'm going to say this fast. You and your son need to get out of that house. They found you. My voice cracked. Who found me? Marco? A pause. Not long, but long enough to terrify me. If Marco's watching you personally, then you're worse off than I thought. My chest tightened. Please, just tell me who you are. A sigh. Not annoyed, tired, like a man who'd seen too much. Name's Rafe. I worked with Jason. Back in the days he never talked about. He trusted me, and right now, I'm the only one you can trust.
I sank into a chair, gripping the phone so tight it hurt. What did Jason do? Why is Marco after us? Why my son? Rafe's voice lowered, heavy, like he was choosing each word carefully. Because Marco isn't just some criminal, Linda. He ran a network, a violent one. And Jason, he was once a part of it. My heart dropped. I whispered, "No, Jason wouldn't. He left. That's the problem. Nobody leaves Marco. Nobody." The room spun. I covered my mouth, shaking. He continued, "Jason tried to keep you and Ethan off Marco's radar, but the second Jason died, you became unprotected. They've been watching the funeral, the house, the school." I felt sick. My son. They put a note in his backpack. He cursed under his breath. "All right, that confirms it. They're not testing you anymore. They're moving." Moving? What does that mean? He didn't sugarcoat it. "It means they're coming, Linda. Tonight, maybe sooner." I looked toward the front window again. The man across the street was gone. Gone. I felt a chill shoot straight through me. "Rafe, someone was watching the house just now. Then you have less than 10 minutes. Listen carefully." I stood up. "Tell me what to do." He spoke fast, sharp, like a man who'd broken people out of worse situations before. "Grab one bag, only essentials. IDs, cash, clothes for the kid. Leave everything else. Then go out the back door, not the front. Head 2 blocks north to the old pharmacy on Brookline. There's a black SUV parked behind it. Keys are in the visor. Get in and wait." My voice trembled. "What about the police?" Rafe's voice hardened. "You call the cops, and Marco will hear it before they even arrive. He's got people watching everything. You need to disappear right now." I swallowed hard. "Rafe, if I do this, if I run, will you meet me?" A beat of silence. Then, "I'll be there. Jason saved my life once. Now it's my turn to save his family." A loud bang suddenly echoed from outside, like someone closing a car door too hard, too close. I felt my heart jump into my throat. "Rafe, I think they're here." His voice snapped into a command. "Linda, get your son. You're out of time."
Rafe told me we had 10 minutes, but we didn't even have 5, because when I grabbed Ethan and ran out the back door, I heard footsteps behind us. Heavy, fast, and they were getting closer. I don't remember grabbing Ethan's backpack. I don't remember shoving clothes into a bag. All I remember is Jason's voice in my head. "Protect our son." I yanked Ethan's door open. "Baby, we're leaving, now." He blinked at me, confused, scared. "Mom, why? What's happening?" "No questions, sweetheart. Shoes on, hurry." I threw a jacket around him, grabbed the bag, and dragged him toward the back door. My hands were shaking so bad I nearly dropped the keys. I cracked the door open, looked left, looked right. Alley seemed empty. "Go, Ethan, go." We stepped out quietly, the cold air hitting my face like a slap. We were halfway down the alley when I heard it. Crunch. A shoe on gravel. Behind us. I spun around. A shadow moved at the far end of the alley, slow, deliberate, like he wanted me to see him. My heart leapt into my throat. "Ethan, run!" We bolted. My breath burned my chest. My legs felt like lead, adrenaline pounding through every vein. Behind us, the footsteps got louder. Not one pair, two. 2 men chasing us. I grabbed Ethan's hand and cut across a narrow side path between 2 garages. "Come on, baby, faster!" Ethan stumbled, but I yanked him back up. My pulse was screaming in my ears. We turned the corner and froze. A man stood, blocking the exit of the alley. Tall, broad shoulders, dark hoodie, waiting for us. We were trapped. I spun around. The 2 men behind us were closing in, slow, steady, like hunters. I pulled Ethan behind me, arms out wide. "Don't you touch my son! Don't you dare!" They didn't speak, didn't run, just walked toward us with this calm, icy confidence. Like they knew we weren't getting away. Ethan started crying softly. Mom, I'm scared. I tightened my grip on him. I know, baby. Stay behind me. The man in front took one more step and suddenly a car horn blasted. Loud, sharp. Headlights exploded through the darkness, blinding all of us. A black SUV screeched into the alley, tires burning the pavement. The door flew open. A voice yelled, Linda, get in now! Rafe. It had to be Rafe. I shoved Ethan toward the SUV. Go, Ethan, move! The men lunged forward. One grabbed my arm. I screamed, kicked backwards. He lost his grip. I threw myself into the passenger seat and slammed the door shut. Wham! One of them slammed his fist on the window so hard the glass cracked. The other tried the back door, but the locks clicked just in time. Rafe yelled, Hold on! The SUV shot forward, knocking one man to the ground. The other jumped out of the way. We sped out of the alley, tires skidding, engine roaring. Ethan sobbed, clinging to me. Mom, who were they? Why? I got you, baby. I promise, I got you. I looked at the driver. A rough face. Stubble. Scar above his eyebrow. Piercing eyes. Rafe. He glanced at me once. Sharp, intense. You cut it way too close, Linda. I swallowed. You came. You actually came. Rafe didn't smile. Jason saved my life. I told him I'd repay the debt someday. Looks like today's the day. I wiped tears from my face. Rafe, what do they want from us? He turned a corner, driving fast. They don't want you. They want Ethan. My heart stopped. I whispered, Why? Why my son? Rafe's jaw tightened. He hesitated. And then he said something that made my blood run cold. Because Jason wasn't Marco's only recruit. They want Ethan to replace his father. When Rafe finally told me the truth, I realized Jason hadn't just been running from Marco. He'd been running from something much older and much darker. Something he feared could one day take our son. I held Ethan tight in the back seat, my arms around him like a shield. He was shaking. I was shaking. Even the seat felt like it was trembling. Rafe drove like a man who knew he was being hunted. Sharp turns, headlights off, checking the mirror every 3 seconds. Finally, I snapped. Rafe, talk. You owe me that. Why does Marco want my son? What did Jason do? Rafe exhaled hard, eyes locked on the road. It's not what Jason did, Linda. It's what he was. I frowned. What is that supposed to mean? Rafe's voice dropped. Jason wasn't just part of Marco's crew. He was Marco's heir. My heart almost stopped beating. Heir? Jason? No. He was a good man. Rafe shot me a look. Nobody said he wasn't good. But before he met you, he wasn't Jason Miller. He lived under another name. I leaned forward, feeling the world tilt. What name? Rafe hesitated. Then he said it. Jason Rivera. I froze. Rivera? Marco Rivera. I felt like the air got ripped out of my lungs. Rafe kept going. Jason wasn't blood brothers, but Marco raised Jason, trained him since he was a kid, groomed him to take over the entire operation. My voice broke. No, he never told me. He wouldn't. Rafe cut me off. He left that life, Linda, for you, for Ethan. I felt tears spill down my face. What kind of life was it, Rafe? What did he run from? Rafe's jaw tightened. Marco's network runs everything from extortion to illegal weapons. Kids are recruited young. Orphans, runaways. Jason was one of them. I covered my mouth, horrified. And Jason escaped? Rafe nodded. He tried to leave clean. Marco didn't take it well. So Jason made a deal. My voice cracked. What deal? Rafe glanced back at Ethan, my son, who was clinging to my coat. Then he said, Jason swore a blood oath before he ran. The SUV felt colder than winter streets. A blood oath? What does that mean? Rafe swallowed. He swore that if he ever had a son, the boy would belong to Marco's family. My entire world collapsed. I felt dizzy, sick, like I was going to pass out. No, he wouldn't. Jason would never. Rafe interrupted gently. Linda, he made that oath long before he met you, long before he knew what love was. He didn't understand what he was giving up. I shook my head violently. No, you're lying. He wouldn't give Ethan away. He loved him. Rafe's voice softened, for the first time since I met him. He did love him, more than his own life. That's why he spent 10 years hiding from a promise he never should have made. The pieces clicked in my mind. The panic, the nightmares, the obsession with security, the secret letters, the constant fear. Jason wasn't scared of dying. He was scared of losing Ethan. I whispered, voice breaking apart. So Marco wants my son because Jason promised him? Rafe nodded once. Yes. According to their rules, Ethan is the rightful heir now. I felt cold. So they want to recruit him? Turn him into what Jason was supposed to be? Rafe's face hardened. Worse. They want to shape him, control him, raise him as Marco's successor. I squeezed Ethan tight, my tears falling on his hair. I'm not taking my son, I whispered to the empty road, to the night, to anyone listening. I don't care who you are, nobody is taking my boy. Rafe nodded. Good, because that's exactly why we're running. I wiped my eyes. Rafe, tell me the truth. Is this why Jason died? Silence. Long. Painful. Then, yes. I felt something inside me shatter. Rafe kept talking. Jason didn't die in an accident, Linda. He died buying you time. My breath hitched. Buying time for what? Rafe stared ahead, voice grim. For Marco to find you, or for me to find you first. The trunk had dozens of letters, but Rafe told me one was missing, Jason's last letter. The one he wrote the night he died. And when I found out who took it, I realized we weren't just running from Marco. We were running from someone inside Jason's past, someone who knew him better than I ever did. The SUV was still speeding through side streets, lights off, engine growling like it was angry at the night itself. Ethan had finally stopped crying, but he was holding onto my arm like he was drowning. I leaned forward. Rafe, you said there was a letter missing. Jason wrote one more before he died. Where is it? Rafe didn't answer right away. He kept driving, jaw locked, eyes flicking between mirrors. Finally, yeah, one's missing. My voice snapped. Missing how? Someone took it? Who? Rafe looked at me through the rear view. Jason didn't hide all his letters in the attic, Linda. One of them, he kept on him at all times. In his jacket pocket. I felt my stomach tighten. The night he died, did the police find it? Another silence. Then Rafe shook his head. No, that pocket was empty. A chill shot right through me. Empty. Which means someone took it before the police arrived. Someone who knew exactly where Jason would hide it. I whispered, Marco? Rafe shook his head again. Not Marco. Someone else. I leaned back, confused and terrified. What do you mean, someone else? Who else even knew Jason was writing these letters? Rafe exhaled. Someone close to him. Someone who grew up with him under Marco's system. Someone Jason trusted once. My hands tightened around Ethan. Who, Rafe? Who took the last letter? He hesitated. Then he said it. His name was Luca. I frowned. Luca? Jason never talked about any Luca. Rafe cut me off. He never talked about a lot of things, Linda. Doesn't mean they ain't real. The name echoed in my head. Luca. Who the hell was Luca? Rafe continued, voice low and grim. Luca was younger than Jason. Smarter. Quieter. Marco used to call him the Shadow because he could follow a man for days and no one would know. My throat tightened. You're telling me this Luca was close to Jason? Rafe nodded. Jason tried to get him out too, but Luca didn't want to leave. He wanted power. He wanted Marco's attention. He wanted everything Jason walked away from. My heart hammered in my chest. And now? Where is he now? Rafe looked at me with a look that told me everything. Behind everything that's happening to you. My skin went cold. Behind the notes? Behind the men following us? Behind the photo in my kitchen? Rafe kept his eyes on the road. Luca was the one tailing your family before Jason died. He was the one who took the last letter off Jason's body, and if I'm right, he's the one who wants Ethan more than Marco does. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't just Marco's revenge. This wasn't just Jason's past. This was personal. I whispered, why? Why would Luca want my son? Rafe's answer was a punch to the gut. Because the last letter, the one Luca stole, it wasn't a warning. He paused. It was a confession. My voice cracked. Confession of what? Rafe looked at me, and for the first time since I met him, he looked scared. Jason wrote down the real truth about who Ethan is, and why Marco believes he belongs to their family. My heart dropped. And Luca has that letter? Rafe nodded slowly. Luca has it, and he ain't gonna stop until you're both in the ground or the boy is in his hands. I felt the world tilt. Everything went blurry. The missing letter, the confession, Luca. And then Ethan tugged on my sleeve. Mom, why is that car behind us following so close? Rafe checked the rear view. His eyes widened. Because they found us. The car behind us wasn't speeding. It wasn't trying to hide. It drove right up to our bumper, and that's when I saw the face in the passenger seat. The man who stole Jason's last letter. The man who'd been hunting my son. Luca.
The SUV sped across the bridge, the city lights flickering behind us like dying stars. Ethan clung to me. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. Rafe's voice cut through the panic. Linda, they're not backing off. I turned. The black sedan behind us pulled closer, just inches from our bumper. And then I saw him. Luca. Dark eyes, cold expression. The man who took Jason's final letter, staring at me like I was already dead. He lifted a piece of paper, held it up to the window, and I recognized it instantly. Jason's missing letter. My throat tightened. Oh my God. Lucas smirked. He tapped the window, mouthing, "Your son. Give him to me." Rage shot through my chest like fire. I whispered to Rafe, "Floor it." He did. The SUV leapt forward. The sedan followed. The chase slammed us onto the old industrial road. No lights, no traffic, just miles of cracked asphalt. Rafe clinched the wheel. Hold on. They're trying to ram us. What? Before I could finish, crash. Their car slammed our bumper. Ethan screamed. I grabbed him tight. Another hit, harder. Rafe gritted his teeth. They're trying to spin us out. Crash. The SUV swerved sideways. My head hit the window. Pain shot through my temple. We were seconds from flipping. Rafe yelled, Linda, take the wheel. I froze. What? Take it. I grabbed the wheel as Rafe let go. He twisted around, leaned out the window, and fired a warning shot, a loud, echoing bang. The sedan swerved back. Rafe ducked inside. Drive straight. Do not slow down. I can't. You can. Your kid's life depends on it. So, I drove. Hands shaking, vision blurred, tears streaming. Behind us, Luca leaned out of his window, holding a gun, pointed straight at my son. Rafe, he's aiming at Ethan. Rafe turned. Saw Luca. The SUV sped across the bridge, the city lights flickering behind us like dying stars. Ethan clung to me. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. Rafe's voice cut through the panic. Linda, they're not backing off. I turned. The black sedan behind us pulled closer, just inches from our bumper. And then I saw him. Luca. Dark eyes, cold expression. The man who took Jason's final letter, staring at me like I was already dead. He lifted a piece of paper, held it up to the window, and I recognized it instantly. Jason's missing letter. My throat tightened. Oh my God. Lucas smirked. He tapped the window, mouthing, Your son. Give him to me. Rage shot through my chest like fire. I whispered to Rafe, Floor it! He did. The SUV leapt forward. The sedan followed. The chase slammed us onto the old industrial road. No lights, no traffic, just miles of cracked asphalt. Rafe clinched the wheel. Hold on, they're trying to ram us. What? Before I could finish, crash! Their car slammed our bumper. Ethan screamed. I grabbed him tight. Another hit, harder. Rafe gritted his teeth. They're trying to spin us out. Crash! The SUV swerved sideways. My head hit the window. Pain shot through my temple. We were seconds from flipping. Rafe yelled, Linda, take the wheel! I froze. What? Take it! I grabbed the wheel as Rafe let go. He twisted around, leaned out the window, and fired a warning shot. A loud, echoing bang. The sedan swerved back. Rafe ducked inside. Drive straight. Do not slow down. I can't. You can. Your kid's life depends on it. So I drove. Hands shaking, vision blurred, tears streaming. Behind us, Luca leaned out of his window, holding a gun, pointed straight at my son. Rafe! He's aiming at Ethan. Rafe turned, saw Luca, cursed under his breath. Then he whispered to Linda, slow the car for 1 second. What? No! Just trust me. I slammed the brake, just a tap. Luca's aim jolted, and Rafe fired. One shot, one impossible, perfect shot. The sedan veered off the road, tires screeching, metal grinding. It smashed into a concrete barrier and flipped. Once, twice, 3 times, and then it stopped. Smoke rose into the dim air. Silence. Rafe exhaled. It's done. But it wasn't. Not yet. The sedan door creaked open. Luca crawled out, bleeding, limping, but still alive. In his hand, Jason's last letter. He staggered towards us. I stepped out of the SUV, shaking but furious. Rafe shouted, "Linda, wait!" But I didn't wait. I met him halfway. He smiled, blood dripping from his mouth. "Your husband thought he could run, but he owed me." I stared right at him. "You want my son?" He grinned. "He belongs to us." I took a step closer. "No, he belongs to me." And then for the first time, I hate him. Not with fear, not with helplessness, but with everything I had left. He stumbled back. Rafe rushed in, taking Luca down hard. The letter fell to the ground. I picked it up with trembling hands. Luca stopped fighting. He lay on the ground, coughing, laughing weakly. "You'll learn the truth now, and it'll destroy you." Rafe knocked him out cold. And then it was just me. And Jason's last words.
Linda, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I spent my whole life running from Marco, and from Luca, and from the man I used to be. But the truth is, Ethan is not tied to them because of a blood oath. He is only tied to them because of me. Not by blood, not by birth, but because I saved Ethan from Marco before he was even born. My breath caught. I kept reading, hands shaking violently. Ethan is not my biological son, Linda. He was the child of a woman trying to escape Marco. I promised her I would protect him, and when she died, I raised him as my own. I lied to protect you, but Ethan is safe because he is not their heir. He never was. You need to tell him the truth one day. Tell him I loved him, tell him he saved me, and tell him none of this was his fault. I dropped to my knees, crying, sobbing. Everything inside me shattered and healed all at once. Ethan wasn't tied to Marco. He wasn't destined for their world. He wasn't cursed by Jason's past. He was innocent, completely innocent. And Jason died protecting a child that wasn't even his by blood, but was his in every way that mattered. Rafe placed a hand on my shoulder. "You're free now, Linda. Marco can't claim a kid that was never his. Luca's done. This ends tonight." I held Ethan close. For the first time in weeks, I felt air in my lungs. Freedom. We walked away from the wreckage, from the lies, from the shadows, and I whispered to my son, "Jason saved you. Now I'll spend the rest of my life keeping you safe." As we drove toward the sunrise, a new day, a new life, I opened the letter one last time and whispered, "Goodbye, Jason. Thank you for everything."